Nice. Ah. Oh, are we on? Are we filming?
Yeah.
Oh, hi guys. Okay, so I thought it would be cool if I showed you some interesting parts of the book that's coming out in May. So this is the book, comes out May 2nd. Rich 20 Something is my first book. And I thought it would be cool if I read you some of the interesting things that you can use right now. The cool thing about a book like this is that you start with talking about business and then you end with talking about life. And that's kind of how this ended up. And so I wanted to read you something that really kind of like just came to me as I was finishing up the book. And somehow it lends perspective to everything that goes before it. This is in chapter 10, actually, and there are only 10 chapters, but this is really cool. So I call this the 7 Maxims for Growth, okay? When we edit this, George will put them on the screen. All right, so Maxim number 1. What's a maxim, by the way? Maxim is like a truth. If you guys didn't know that, look it up. SAT teacher. So a maxim. 7 maxims for growth, okay? Maxim number 1. I can always improve. I'm going to read it. Well, look. Here's the basic gist of it. There's always something you can do better. It doesn't mean that what you're doing now is wrong or bad. It doesn't mean that that what you're going to do in the future isn't exciting, but what you're doing right now can be improved. When you look for a small little nugget of something that you can make just a little bit better, it's easier to eventually work towards getting that bigger picture that you want. You're not going to make $100,000 before you make 10,000. You're not going to make 10,000 before you make that first 1,000, and all those are small little improvements along the road. Start with where you're at, and eventually you'll get where you want to be. So, first maxim number 1, I can always improve. Maxim number 2, I persevere when I'm frustrated. These maxims are mantras you can say to yourself when you're not sure how to proceed. Maxim number 2 is really important. And you know, it's interesting because when you start changing the way that you think about your world, it gets easier to deal with the things that used to be a lot harder. Resilience is in short supply these days, and I blame the internet. Everything that's promised is easy. Everyone wants things now. The world has been around for over 4 billion years. Modern civilization has only been around for about 6,000. Don't rush the process. Things necessarily, and without exception, take time. While that time is elapsing, don't give up because you're frustrated. Persevere. Consistency compounds like interest over time. When you start really believing that struggle equals perseverance, not pain, it makes it a lot easier to get through painful situations. All right, next one. Maxim number 3. I don't run from mistakes, I learn from them. How many times have we made a mistake and said, well, I'm never doing that again, but we don't think about why it happened. We don't think about the things that led up to it. And we don't think about the context and the situation enough to recognize when that thing keeps happening to us over and over again. You can run from mistakes and it will feel temporarily good because you don't have to think about it. But the more you run, the less you're able to learn. And you're much better served by the mistakes you're inevitably going to make. Everyone makes mistakes. You're much better served by those mistakes by learning from them, figuring out what you did wrong, and not repeating that same thing than just pushing it out of your head. So that's maxim number 3. All right, maxim number 4. This is a big one. I wrote a whole big part about this one. I'm inspired by people who succeed. I think Instagram ruined most people's social perception of themselves and each other. It's really easy to see others who are doing well and feel this core of anxiety in the pit of your stomach, this core of inadequacy because others seem to be always doing better than you, driving a nicer car, wearing better clothes, have a hotter girlfriend or boyfriend, have more fun at work. They're not even working. What are they doing? I look at some of these people on Instagram, I think, man, how do you live? Because I don't ever see you doing anything that's remotely looking like work. The reality is, I mean, if you look around across campus, you know, I have fun here on a daily basis, but I'm working. Like, I'm at the computer, I'm working. And I think that it's easy to get jealous of people who seem to be doing really well and think, why not me? You know, what's wrong with me? Once you stop thinking like that, and once you kind of detach the negative emotions from people who are successful and succeeding, it makes room for you to feel better about yourself, and it doesn't put a lot of pressure on you, or puts less pressure on you to be perfect. When people who succeed and successful people inspire you, it makes you start to think about how you can do the things they're doing, rather than think about why you're not able to do them, right? So it's less about competition and more about, creativity in terms of how you're going to solve your problem. Jealousy never helped anybody, man. And I'm not saying the whole like, if you don't have haters, you ain't doing well. I'm just talking from a basic human level. Nelson Mandela supposedly said this. He said, jealousy or hatred is like drinking poison and expecting it to kill your enemies, right? That's the way you have to think about that feeling of jealousy when other people are doing well. Don't do it. Look at it, become inspired by it, learn to live your own life better. That's maxim number 4. All right, maxim number 5. I can learn anything I want to. So, if you guys have ever read the book Brave New World by Aldous Huxley, which by the way I'm reading now, in the book I give an example of Divergent, which is a movie, and I realized that Divergent was just based on Aldous Huxley's book. Anyway, if you read Brave New World, they have this whole world where people are born into certain classes, and each class can only do certain things, and they all have particular skill sets, and they can't excel out of those skill sets. You have alphas and betas, and you have people who are born to be stupid manual workers, and people who are born to be, like intelligent thought leaders. And that's just the way it is. I think a lot of us still have that mindset, even if it's not overt, especially in Western culture. When you're a kid, you get praised for the things that you do well, and you either get ignored or scolded for the things that you do poorly, especially in school. And that creates this feeling that we're naturally good at some things and not good at others. When I was a kid, I got praised so much for my reading and writing, and I didn't get a lot of recognition for my math and my computational skills in that arena. And so I naturally began to think that I was really good at things that were verbal and not so good at things that were analytical. Turns out, though, that I don't have any fewer brain cells or neural connections, or I don't have any less processing power than anyone else's brain. But the way that I was conditioned to think about my intelligence didn't allow me to become better at other things, because I was conditioned to think that I'd only be good at reading and writing. A lot of us have this. We go into our lives thinking that some things just aren't going to be able. We're not going to be able to grasp some concepts. Oh, economics, that's just not something I can do. Computer science, way too hard. I can't read that book. It's way above my level. Things like that. What you have to know is that if you made it to this video, wherever I posted this video, YouTube or wherever else, you're smart enough to learn anything you want. You have to go into life with a mindset of knowing that you can learn anything, because just the admission to yourself internally that you can learn anything it's a permission slip to go out and try new things. And that's what's going to lead you to places that you've never been before, and allow you to start doing things and meeting people that you've never met before. If something's hard for you and something's challenging for you, you go back to Maxim 3, right? I don't run from mistakes, I learn from them. Or Maxim 2, I persevere when I'm frustrated. Learning new things is going to be difficult. You're going to have to persevere. But it doesn't mean that you can't learn it. In fact, I'd challenge you to challenge yourself. So never believe that you can't learn something. You can, especially if it's business. I'm not a super genius, and somehow you're watching this video, all right? That's maxim number 5. That's a long one. All right. Maxim number 6, I like this one. I can make a difference with my effort and with my attitude. There is a definitive, or I would say there's a tangible effect that happens when you focus really hard on something, very intensely, and you put in a lot of effort. Effort and attitude aren't everything, but they're damn near close to it. I can't tell you how many problems I've solved just by changing my attitude from one of frustration to one of curiosity. I can't tell you how many things I've done just through sheer brute force. In the beginning, there are going to be a lot of things that you have to do, especially with your business, that you can't scale. Whether it's like emailing people because you need to, pitch clients, or whether you need to, get venture capital for your business, and you need to go out and knock on doors and take meetings, and or you could be starting up, at a much smaller level, and just doing things day by day. You're going to have to do a lot of things that take an incredible amount of effort to get off the ground. And the amount of effort you put in is, in many ways, like compound interest. You might put in 5, 6, 10, 20, 50, 100, 1,000 hours into something, but if that effort's focused in the right direction with the right attitude, the return you're going to get on that investment is so much higher than the amount of hours that you put in to what you're working on. And so you have to look at those hours you put in and that effort as an investment. You're not just investing the time in order to get the immediate result. You're investing the time because that also creates a moat between where you are and where everyone else is trying to get to. The very fact that it's hard to build a business, the very fact that it takes a lot of effort means that the more effort you put in, the more likely you are to be successful. Now, of course, you have to be focused on the right things. That's like a given, and it's not always easy to focus on the right things. But once you do, and you put in that effort, you're going to create this wide gap between people who are just starting and want to do it, and people who are actively in the process of doing it or have already done it. And effort is kind of the bridge. Effort is the boat that crosses the moat. So it's very important. And as you learn to hone your focus more, the effort that you put in counts for even more. That's maxim number 6. And maxim number 7, I like to challenge myself. So I talked about this earlier. You have to be a little bit masochistic. Starting a business, becoming an entrepreneur is not easy. I was talking to Alicia and DT earlier, and I was saying, the word online business, the key word is not online, it's business. No matter whether it's an online business or you have a storefront or you work with clients, no matter what it is that you do, business is the key word. And business is not easy, man. It's just hard. It takes some understanding of financials. It takes understanding of marketing. You have to be able to work with people. You have to be relatively organized. And all these skills can come to you as you move along. For the most part, people who don't develop these skills end up falling off. There are the geniuses, the Steve Jobs of the world, who are able to bring enough people around them with their vision to be completely imbalanced in one area and still succeed. But that's not necessarily the most likely scenario for you watching this. It's probably actually very unlikely. And you see what happened to people who go imbalanced for so long. They die early, they're not happy, they're stressed out. Steve Jobs, although being a wonderful man, didn't spend a lot of time with his family, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But in order to challenge yourself, you're going to have to pick up new skills. And those new skills are going to require you to become more balanced. It's going to require you to put in more time. But looking at the journey makes it a lot more palatable. Instead of looking at the end result and saying, man, this is so hard getting to this end result, it's so challenging, you have to start looking at this journey as something that you enjoy. And you have to start enjoying the challenge, enjoying the problem solving, enjoying the unknown. And it also means, in parentheses, the scary unknown. It's going to be really challenging. So you might as well start liking challenges rather than skirting away from them. These maxims are really important and they're fundamental. You're going to learn them in the book, but you're also going to learn the step-by-step strategies for starting a business, because it is hard. It's not easy, but it's a little bit of guidance, you can do it. So check this book out. It's coming out May 2nd. Pick it up in bookstores. Well, actually, no. Go order online right now, because if you order online and you pre-order it by May 2nd, I'm going to give you some bonuses. I'm entering people in to win access to my courses, my flagship courses. I'm entering in people I'm doing a MacBook draw and I'm giving away like 5 MacBook Pros. We're also doing live masterminds and meetups in secret locations around the country with me if you pre-order. So pre-order this and then just send me a copy of your receipt. You can DM me on Instagram or on Snap or Facebook. You can send me a picture via email, daniel@rich20something.com, and add yourself to the bonus list. So I hope you grab this book. I think you're really gonna like it, and I know you're gonna learn a lot. All right, see you next time. Oh, and by the way, make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel. Dropping new videos like every week, so always new stuff to share with you. All right, peace.